Hey guys, this is Devanshu Mishra, aka Divs, and today in this video we will be talking about and learning about Gyakuzuki. So, Gyakuzuki, for those who don't know, Gyakuzuki is a punch that is commonly used in karate, which is karate's famous reverse punch. It is also known as the karate's own cross punch, and this is a punch that can be used in all the martial art formats, whether that's karate point fighting, whether that's full contact fighting, whether that's MMA, whether that's real street fighting. That can be used in any format and any form of fighting. So in this video, we will be covering all the aspects and all the steps that you are required to learn in order to do a correct Gyakuzuki. So without wasting too much time, let's move forward towards our first step. The first step that you need to do is assume a proper Zenkutsu Dachi. Zenkutsu Dachi is the front stance. Now pay attention that the Zenkutsu Dachi, the length between the legs in the Zenkutsu Dachi or the length of the Zenkutsu Dachi can vary from style to style, from association to association. So whatever your association or your style teaches you, just get into that stance only, but keep in mind that the max percentage of the weight or the maximum portion of the weight should be situated on the front leg and not the back leg. Then once you are in the stance, the Zenkutsu Dachi, rotate your waist so that now your non-dominant shoulder is before your head, but the dominant shoulder is behind your head. In short, you are in a kami position, in the sideways position. But keep your head straight, body side, waist side. This will force your back knee to bend a little bit. And a bent knee is required in order to create all the force and all the tension, all the potential energy to be stored in the leg, so that when you push the ground, the power, the energy generates from the ground and travels through your leg. Remember that whatever punch you do, the power, the real power of the punch or the real force is generated from the ground. So it's important to store the potential energy in the back leg and keep the knees bent a little bit so that you can generate the max amount of energy by pushing the ground, and this energy will be, and this force, this energy will be delivered to your punch and subsequently towards your target. Now after covering the first step, that is the stance and the foot positioning, now we head towards the second step. The second step is the hip rotation. So in order to learn how to punch properly, whatever the punch is, Kizamizuki, Gyakuzuki, hip rotation plays a very important and a crucial role that you need to make sure that you know before learning to punch. So what hip rotation is? Hip rotation is the mechanism of moving and rotating your waist. This is very important to be done, and this is must to be done if you want to transmit all that energy that you have created with your legs by pushing the ground to your upper body, from your lower body to your upper body. So now you know that you have generated all the energy from your ground by pushing the back leg, but now you have to deliver all that energy to the upper body. How are you going to do so? You are going to do so by rotating your hips, by rotating your waist. So this is why the hip rotation is important. Hip rotation gives you a medium that delivers, that carries, that transports all that energy that you have generated by pushing the ground with your back leg from your lower body to your upper body and then subsequently to your punch. So when you assume the proper Zenkutsu Dachi, you rotate your body, you store energy in your back leg, you push the back leg, then you rotate your hips. The rotation of the hips will deliver all that energy from the lower body to the upper body and then to the punch. Like this. Make sure you practice this before going to the actual punch. You push the ground, then rotate the hips. Push the ground, rotate the hips. Push the ground, rotate the hips. Push the ground, rotate the hips. This must be practiced. Now when you rotate the hips, make sure that you are not pulling this hips back. Because if you pull this hip back, you are actually compromising the range. This will counteract with your own punch. And this will disrupt the entire form of the punch, the speed. You will compromise the speed, the range, the power and everything. So without pulling this hip back, push this hip forward. Push the leg, generate the power, and with the power push this hip, the dominant hip, forward. So now that you have learned the proper stance that you are required to get in, now that you have learned the proper hip rotation that you are required to learn in order to deliver the carry all the energy from the ground to the punch. Now we will be learning the movement of the hand, the actual movement of the hand. Think of your hand as the arrow and your body as the bow, the string of the bow. So you pull the string, you generate all the energy, then you release the string. The string pushes the arrow, which is your hand, and then it moves forward. Don't move your hand like this. Don't move your hand like this. It's a different punch. This is a hook punch, the Kage-Zuki. This is a different thing. But when you do the Gyaku-Zuki, the cross punch, it is important to make sure that the punch moves straight and the punch moves out in a linear period, in a linear motion, in a straight motion, and not in a curved or looping motion. So once you push the ground, deliver the power with your hips, and then when the power reaches your hand, just push it straight, push it out. Leading with the knuckles, the front two knuckles, the second, make sure that the punch moves straight, the punch moves out. In order to make sure that your punch moves straight, make sure that your elbows are facing downwards till the last moment, so that your elbows don't flare out while the punch, because then your elbow will be facing the sideways. So don't flare your elbows out, make sure that your elbows are facing downwards till the last moment, and then you punch. Push the ground, rotate your hips, and then deliver all that power to your punch while punching straight and punching out with the front two knuckles of your hand. So now that you have learned all the three steps, including the stance, the hip rotation, and the movement of the hand, so now you can do Gyaku-Zuki properly in a Kihon or in Kata. But if you want to do it, or if you want to perform it in Kumite against a live opponent, a real opponent, you need to make sure that you know the proper footwork. So get into the fighting position, the Kamae. Remember that Kamae is always smaller than Zenkotsu-Dachi. When you punch, you assume the Zenkotsu-Dachi, and then you again come back to the fighting position, the Kamae. Come into the Kamae, the fighting position, Jiu Kamae, and then press the ground with your back leg, generate all that energy, deliver it with the rotation of your hip, and then punch with your hand. But while doing all these things, make sure you move that front leg while you punch. And then when you bring the punch back, make sure you bring the front leg back as well, like this. So I'm pushing the ground, rotating the hips. At the same time, I am punching while pushing my front leg forward. And then when I bring the hand back, I am pulling the leg back as well. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So this is how you punch. This is how you punch Gyaku-Zuki in a Kumite. So this is only one type of footwork that you are required to learn. Now, the second type of footwork is when you are not able to reach the maximum distance that you are required to reach to punch your opponent or to reach your opponent. You don't only push the front leg forward, you also drag the back leg in that direction that you want to go. Not this, but this. Front leg, back leg. Not like this, but this. Without moving the back leg, just move the front leg. Punch, and this is all you are required to do in order to counter that punch. So this is a very popular and well used technique in Kumite. But if the distance is more, and even if you move the front leg and the back leg, still you are not able to reach your opponent, make sure you reach half the distance or more than half the distance with a long Izami-Zuki and then a Gyaku-Zuki. So here I am and here my opponent is, I can reach him like this. Of course, if he attacks, I can counter him like this, but I can't reach him like this. I can reach him like this as well, because the distance is already too much. So first, I will be using the Kizamizuki, the front leg, while moving towards the opponent, covering half the distance, and then the Gyakuzuki. Then I will lower my body, press my body, and do the Gyakuzuki. 1, 2. There is one more type of footwork that you can learn in order to do the Gyakuzuki, but that footwork will convert your Gyakuzuki into an Orizuki. So what you are doing here is, you are pushing the front knee forward while doing the fend, the Kizamizuki fend. Then you are doing the Gyakuzuki and following through the back leg. 1, 2. In action. This is an Orizuki indeed, but at the same time, in order to learn this, you need to master Gyakuzuki first. The beginning of the movement is just like you begin the movement with Gyakuzuki. You move the weight of the body to the front leg, you press the front knee, and then you do the Gyakuzuki. But then all you do is following through with the back leg. So this enables you to cover even more distance with this stance. And you can also use it as the continuation of the punches. Although you are doing this only, you can, if you miss the target or miss the opponent, you can still continue doing this. So these are the type of footworks that you can use in your kumite, in your training regimen, and then you can apply it in kumite as well. So if you like the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the video as well with the other people you think the video can be helpful for. So we'll come back with another video next time. Till then, thank you.